Welcome back, everyone, to the first try streaming with this laptop. Yeah, let's see what happens. Who knows? Welcome back, everyone. Doppler Mike's here, Revenant. Hopefully everyone's having a good night. We'll see how this holds up for the saga that now is my internet connection. So far, so good. I have streamed several times tonight, just test streams, and it has ran just fine. Not saying that it won't drop again, but we'll see what happens. So, for those that didn't tune in last week, I had some severe internet problems that prevented the stream from continuing, so we had to cancel it, basically. And they're working in my area right now. I saw some ISP vans rolling around, so knock on wood, things are working hopefully pretty good tonight. We'll see. Evening, Brad Smith. Evening, Polly. And we're back again with the Toshiba laptop that we started talking about last night. And then we just got so rudely interrupted, so... And I do have quite a few things to say about this laptop, and I may be calling myself a phony part of it too as we get to it. We'll explain more, and Pixel's going to shame me extensively as we do this. Anyway, so yeah, we're back again on the Toshiba 4010 CDT. For those that didn't watch the video, then this is a Pentium 2 266 megahertz laptop from the golden era of laptops in the 90s, right? It's got a great design, all the good stuff you'd want, including a floppy and CD-ROM drive attached all the time. You don't have to make a choice. Take a glancing over my stream health, and so far, so good. All right, so far, so good. So this laptop's been through a couple of trials and tribulations to mess with the software. I spent some time messing with it before the stream again, and we'll get to it here as we walk through this machine, but there's been I'm having some weird stuff with the sound card, and I think that that just goes to do with the type of sound chip they used. And it's a Yamaha, then, for those unaware, it's a Yamaha, what do they call it? It's like, it's a genuine OPL3 Yamaha chipset. The cool thing is that it has the XG sound font on it built in. You can actually redirect and do that, which a lot of those YMF sound chips from Yamaha have that. But in a laptop, I thought to myself, like, well, that's awesome, because then you have potentially basically a synthesizer you can point your MIDI to and get better sound, which, yes, does work, sort of. Asterisk, caveat, and we'll get to that as well. And maybe someone else has messed with these and can either at the watching live can kind of like give me pointers, or can drop in the comments after the fact. But I wanted to cover that on the video, but didn't have time. I can't cover everything, of course. For those that create content, you want to cover everything, but then you have to limit yourself a little bit. So I went ahead and did not cover that. But if we look at the machine here now, the reason Winamp's open, because... So I had DirectX 9 on here, which is a little later new for this era machine. So someone in Discord said, like, well, 6 or 7 is probably more appropriate, and I agree. So instead of having to reinstall the whole thing, I used an uninstaller software, ripping DirectX 9 out, which is always very much of a gamble. You never know if that's going to work afterwards. And I reinstalled 6 and then 7, and it's been working fine. However, MIDI playback using just the built... And I was starting in Winamp, never mind. I said Winamp is the default, but opening this in the, let's see, if we do Windows Media Player right now, it will literally not run because there's some problems with the DLL files and everything. And I'm sure that's because I grabbed a DLL file I was complaining about earlier from another machine, it was fine, but then I'm getting this error. So, stability was fine when I tested it last, but everyone who has ever uninstalled or tried to rip out a DirectX from a Windows 98 machine knows that that is not always a great thing. So we'll see what happens. So, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I remember lusting after these Toshibas as well, because they're just such a classic laptop 90s design. There were many different ones from that era, but they're just such like this chunk of a brick laptop. And I went to great expense and effort to make that joke in the video, by the way, getting those bricks. And I thought I was very clever, and I smugly chuckled to myself after that, but I also drew a Windows logo on cardboard, so anyway. So this machine's kind of got a lot of stuff going for it. Calling back to the video with just a 2 megabyte video card on a pretty fast processor and pretty good compatibility. And as we'll see, there's a couple of things with that compatibility. Is that the DOS compatibility is really odd. Everything says this should be a great DOS machine. Many of the Yamaha sound chips work great out of the box. This one, a little bit of an interesting situation or issue, because you basically set the RQ and DMA settings in the BIOS, and it basically carves that out then for you, and then you have to have the software that matches it. So it's really weird how much you have to mess with it to get it to work correctly. So this machine I found so far is happier in Windows than it is in DOS. Performance in DOS is great, no problem there. You can run all the games natively in DOS. However, the sound support, because of that weird setup, is a little iffy. Some things run great, and MIDI might work in many, many cases, not all, but then Sound Blaster support doesn't work in some games. And in some games, all of it works fine. I can't find any rhyme or reason to that. I mess with, all the resource settings for hours and hours, so... Oh, awesome. I seem to recall I had a Toshiba Satellite as well, my first real laptop I had for school, but it used the DSTN screen that I think many of us were saddled with just horrendous ghosting on the screen, right? So that was a drawback of that. This is an active TFT panel, so it's actually a really nice screen. And this particular machine was used a lot for IT tasks around the world, and it traveled a large portion of the globe actually, never skipping a beat. And the battery still holds a charge for a long time. You can run this battery for 45 minutes an hour, no problem. Any Lone Wolf? We are so far so good on the stream now. I keep glancing over, but we're live, and we haven't dropped a single frame yet with my internet. Seems to be holding steady at 15 to 16 megabit up. So, hey, we'll take what we get at this point. Anyway, so let's check out some of the specific things here. One of the coolest things with this is that XG sound chip. And I keep referring to the video, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but in here is the OPL3 SAX configuration, and this is an SA3, I think. This would basically be one of the most basic versions of the YMF chipsets, but one thing I wanted to call in the video that I didn't have time, is this here. This is the MPU 401 out for DOS applications, and as you notice, there's an external. This is the normal configuration you would have, where you output it. It outputs basically to the external MIDI port, but there's no MIDI on here, so I'm assuming there's either you pretty much have a bypass dongle or something, right? Like a parallel port or serial port out to MIDI. I don't know how that would work. There's no game port on this thing, so there might be a way to do it, but Toshiba probably didn't care about releasing that as a thing. However, the soft GM is the XG Lite that's built into the sound chip, which is what you would get on a more advanced YMF sound card from Yamaha in a PCI configuration. So where you can actually set it to that and redirect MIDI to that, and where it works, it sounds great. However, it's kind of like a give and take, and I'll show why in a second here. So if we were to do, so we have it set now to pipe to the XG sound chip on the Yamaha sound card, right? Evening, Mr. Never See Me. I don't see you. Where are you? But yeah, a lot of these satellites are really cool. Or a lot of these Toshibas from this era are really cool. And I think they make fantastic, workhorse machines for the era as far as, gaming and all that stuff. So, eating G-Funkster. Okay. That might explain, because I thought to myself, because this machine was probably not targeted to... MIDI composers and gamers, right? It was a workhorse machine that just happened to have those off-the-shelf things. So, yeah, the battery's still good, too. Okay, that makes sense. As far as, your DX uninstaller pixel, that might be because, when you're troubleshooting a retro computer, and, an hour and a half later, you can't even retrace what you just did. It's kind of like that. Because I installed drivers left and right to try to get the sound card pieces to work, and then thinking that maybe DirectX was a problem, and I had 9 on there, so I wanted to get that out without reinstalling, so I did use a happy uninstaller, which did work fine. I mean, the computer's running fine. I just tested MIDI a minute ago, and this is the first error I came across. I think it just ripped out too many files, whatever that might be. But something we can do if we then go into, for example, we're going to run a lot of these games from the Windows, using the DOS compatibility in Windows. We can boot to native DOS, which we'll try as well. However, it's a mixed bag. Some stuff works great, and for example, Doom, or Doom 2, they only have MIDI and no sound effects. And that kind of makes it very lame to play. Also, you can't, to my knowledge, from what I found, you cannot use the redirect to the XG synthesizer, or the FM synth, in DOS. I was not able to do that. I can only do that in Windows. But I'll show you exactly what I mean. If we're going to the setup utility for Duke 3D here, which of course is running in DOS mode inside of Windows, right? So I know that's a little taboo sometimes. So we have the sound effects card, and we have that set to Soundmaster. This is the equivalent of a Soundmaster Pro 2.0. And if anyone gets bored, let me know. This is going to be a lot of like talking about this laptop in general and what makes it neat. We'll play some games as well. But right now, I just kind of want to unload everything that kind of is on my mind with this machine. So it's on my mind. I'm not trying with a hammer. You mean percussive maintenance? I tried throwing it off the roof of my house, but no. So this is the Soundmaster Pro 2.0 compatible, I believe. So that's the one for running. We have RQ7, we have DMA1, and if we test sound effects card now, that does work just fine. That's great. So if we go to the music card and we select the Sound Blaster as well on here, which then will be the same when we test it, we get the glorious ad-lib, very quiet. So what I've found so far, what's really annoying, is that there's not much volume control in here, because the DOS software that controls this doesn't work in Windows, so... that's true. Hey, I'm just checking. I can get going on this stuff, so... But here, of course, is the ad-lib, what you would expect from a Sound Blaster. I mean, if you like it or not, it's very generic in a sense, but maybe we can, we'll do this. Music volume. We'll turn it up a little bit and test it again. Turn up again. The volume is weird. It seems to just, like, not work somehow. There it is. So, you're familiar with the Duke theme. It's the most classic, like, DOS-related theme. But now, if we set a general MIDI and we point it to the MIDI port of 330, it doesn't work at all. Isn't that great? See, this is stuff that was working earlier. Let me double check, because I think I had to toggle a couple times. So we'll do external, then we'll do soft GM again. Try one more time. Why is it so quiet? That's the question. See, I think it is. Let's try it again. So now, it's really quiet still, but I don't know why. Okay, music volume, there we go. It's basically like a really cheap, like, Dream Blaster hooked onto the sound card. As we'll hear, in some games, it sounds really interesting, because it's not really... I don't know. I feel like this was like a side effect of this particular sound chip being used. Because it uses the Yamaha sound set, I think, because it's an XG Lite. So I'm assuming that's a narrower scope, like general MIDI. And if I overuse technology, or overuse different terminology here, that's my bad. I'm not always great with the sound stuff. But this is built in, and that's a pretty cool thing compared to the ad-lib generic sound. The fact that it just kind of works like that is pretty cool. And that's something you can do on the PCI Yamaha sound cards that have the XG on it. So you basically have a built-in, like, MIDI... What do you would call it? I guess I forget. Like a general MIDI sound set or whatever. Because, I mean, really all of this is like it's a It's a sound font, right? More or less, that you redirect to, but it's a separate chip on there, and it's on the laptop, so I think it's a really cool thing. However, I'm going to turn down for a little bit now, because if we go into Duke now and actually try and play, we don't get it. We don't get it at all, which is kind of annoying, because it would sound really cool to play Duke this way on a laptop like this. It would be a pretty cool option to have. However, nothing. No music. There's nothing. So I don't know if it's one of those that just the software doesn't know how to use it or handle it, and this might work better in native DOS, but in native DOS, you can't point it to the XG unless I missed something in the setup software. I wasn't able to get it to work. So the potential is there for something that's really neat in the sense that you have full Sound Blaster compatibility, and you also have this additional Yamaha explicit, and there goes my internet. Come on, can you keep it up? Come on. There was a blip there. We dropped a few frames. Hold on to your butts. There it goes again. We made it a little bit. Let's see what happens. Just tanked. No. I mean, no. Spiking all over the place. Let's see if I can maintain a connection here, but see, you got green again. Back to normal. Hopefully it was just a spike. We'll see. That was like 1,300 frames dropped, and I think it's back right now. Probably they're out working on a box somewhere in the neighborhood and just like tripped on it. You know, they're working on it still. So there is still a, so for those that are joining late, there is still a service outage in my area with my service provider. And I definitely saw the trucks earlier. So, and that's what I wonder, G-Funkster. We'll get to that, G-Funkster, sorry. We'll get to that as well, because the setup SA software might have something about it. And that's the DOS utility. And if you can mess with that and configure it there, that might give us some options and do it in DOS native, because I could not get it to work in DOS native. So you can do it, of course, directly from the utility in Windows. So, and where it gets really sad, so yeah, you can run it with normal ad-lib support here, and it works just fine, which is general MIDI or Sound Blaster support, no problem at all. What I find is strange and very interesting here is that there is no volume control from MIDI in here at all, and I think that might be part of our problem. As far as I looked through here, there's no options in here. I have all the volume controls enabled here. You know, volume, waves, and such line mode. There's no... Let's see, we have voice commands now. 40 monitor. Yeah. There's no way to set the MIDI volume, and I think that's working against us in some parts, which is really annoying, because I don't necessarily want to try it, but I'll show something that's neat, which is the fact that Descent also, which of course has a great MIDI soundtrack, really quiet. That's the thing. The volume is just not right. Which I think software WT is set... I think it's this one. Yeah. And that's maxed. Start that one over because it does sound really good on here. And I wouldn't say it's like the best sound you ever heard, but it's still unique and it's really cool, I think. And the possibility that this is on the laptop and usable like this makes it real appealing. However, then when you get into the game, I have to say I may have to mute it because it just, from here it sounds good, but then you go into the game like this, while it does play it, it plays it so insanely loud, clipping doesn't even describe it, it's just garbled. And it just feels like it's so close to being a really cool feature, and it doesn't work exactly the way you expect it to. And I feel that's a driver issue more than anything, because I tried a whole bunch of drivers. I actually found, so the people that bought Toshiba doesn't exist anymore. It was bought out not too long ago. And they still had the drivers for that on their website. However, the links were dead. So I used the Wayback Machine. I was able to download the software. So we have the latest drivers on here, and I tried 3 or 4 different versions, and they all have the similar or some issue of some kind. Because I don't think they intended for this to be used this way, really. Like, yes, it has XG on here, but that was clearly not the intended use case for this laptop. This is a work computer. So maybe we can try this now. If we take this and we turn this down to nothing, I'm going to turn down the volume on the stream a lot for the game, because we have sound effects. That's not a problem. But the volume inside of Descent proper, for some reason on the... We'll see. I'm going to be ready here with the mute button on the game, because... well, that might be okay. Maybe I turned it off. So let me go to here and set this. Maybe this is the volume control that was the problem. I'm not sure if anyone heard that, but just like, yeah, even, yeah, it does not work very well. Even it's like it absolutely, completely cranks it. And because there's no volume mixer tied to that one, not good. So I'm not sure how much that came across. I turned it down a lot, but it is just like almost blowing my speakers out. So it's just got to be something how it's handling the instruction to it. Yeah, exactly. That's all you get basically. So now in regular AdLib, or in regular setup, this sounds fine and works great. So I feel like it's just there. Again, it's close to being good. I think we need the... there we go. Classic Descent music. Works great in the game. No problem at all. But that XG thing is just not playing nice with these, so... so you're right, and that's the thing. Sometimes we may have to mess with DOS with that too, but in some games it actually does work as you expect it to, which I thought was pretty funny to... For example, let's just do this. We're gonna go to let's see. We'll launch up Dune 2, and I have it set right now. Oh, never mind. That's the wrong one. Good evening, welcome. We are breaking everyone's eardrums playing this game. Install it, Dune 2. There we go. So this actually works with the external. Maybe I set it back. Let me double check. I think I did. It's a lot of back and forth, but it just feels like it's so close to being like really good or really cool that it would work well. So yeah, that's right. I have to basically set it to sound canvas. Yes, use extended memory. Yes, use mouse. So that's the kicker, right? There's a volume in there, which will be great. However, can we engage the XG redirect in DOS? The problem I had with Setup SA is in DOS, even though it detects the software or detects the sound card settings and all that good stuff, I literally cannot get Sound Blaster support to work in many games. Like, the sound effects don't work. But MIDI works, so... So I think that the volume probably will go back here now, and we'll turn this to... So now we have that MIDI support inside of Dune 2 here, which sounds unique. Not always right. Also very quiet. So it just, yeah, something doesn't feel right with the volume mixer here. Now, yeah, it's really quiet too. And we're basically sending sound canvas, because there's no general MIDI setting in here. We're basically sending sound canvas instruction set to this thing. And we're getting a facsimile that's okay, but sometimes it sounds hilarious because some of the sounds are not even remotely close. I think there's a bell ringing when there's shots fired and stuff. So, yeah, unfortunately, I have it, like, maxed out volume now in OBS, and I'm maxed in the setting. And there's no volume control instead of Dune 2 itself, I think, so. But it does work. So, again, it's so... Yeah, you probably can't hear it because it's so quiet. Sorry about that. There's a ringing door, or like a ringing bell sound, when the harvester stopped there. Normally it's just saying, you know, like a sound effect like that with air brakes. But unfortunately, when you run an external MIDI like this, you have no sound master support, so there's no sound effects. But it's clearly sending the wrong one, so... Yeah, so it's one of those, like, I just... it feels so close, right? Imagine... taking aside all the problems I've had with this so far, if you just... I'm sure you can hear there's a helicopter sound effect there. Because for those not familiar with the MIDI, right, basically it sends an instruction set of play this note, and then the receiving MIDI device should have that mode or sound file. There it sounds okay. Sound file available, sound effect. But in this case, it doesn't match up. So some of these do, some of them don't. Because a lot of these MIDI standards aren't one-for-one. Like, you can't take a sound canvas and replace it with the Yamaha one XG directly. They're all their own unique stuff. So, as far as, like, with direct with sound canvas support. So, yes. I'll have you look at that, because I did that. So, I have that set correctly there. However, then there's the Setup SA software, and I matched the Setup SA software with what's set in the BIOS. So, we'll check that. We'll do it together and see if we can figure it out. Because I feel like if you had this laptop with just Soundmaster support, good processor, good video card, we'll get to that too, and then also this built-in cool synthesizer thing, it's a pretty cool portable thing, isn't it? I mean, all of it that comes with it. But it's just so close to being good. But yeah, I don't think you can run the Setup SA software. I think it just basically complains that it has to be done in DOS. We can try it here. Will it let us run here? Please execute from pure DOS. Yeah, it won't let us run it, so because it's basically trying to call back. There is a configuration file here too, and a SA README. What I'm going to do is set this to 7, because I need that to match what is on the BIOS settings. So here are all the mixer settings, and they're all set in the middle, which is what we want. However, you cannot control these from inside of... I'm gonna start forgetting. So there's Y mode. I wonder. It might be one of these settings here. Funkster, do you think that, because this is the ini file that basically Setup SA uses, which is Setup SA is like XP mixer set, or whatever one of the ones that initialize to the sound card. And I wonder if one of these settings will basically force it to go into, because MPU 401 is on. I wonder if one of these would basically say enable the Yamaha redirect, the XG one. Practice mode. I want to say that in real life all the time, and no one understands where it comes from, but it's impossible not to say it, so. Because we have Y mode. I'm not sure what that is, so. Force SA3A, only FM. Because it could be one of these, but this is like delete. Anyway, we'll go back into Windows Standard here, and I'll save that. And then we will boot into native DOS. Practice mode. I think it's still hilarious that he calls back to that. For those not familiar, it's LGR did a video years ago on like a was it like climbing game or something, and it had a practice mode, and every time you clicked it, it went practice mode. I think he calls back to that every time he can, because it is actually hilarious. Yeah, so the Setup SA actually does that for you. I mean, all it does is that it reads that, or vice versa. So if you open Setup SA, it writes to that file. However, you can just configure it as well when it initializes it. So we're going to try a couple ways, because I do have Phil's Computer Labs fantastic like startup in DOS mode, which basically brings us into a a awesome DOS mode that basically lets us select whatever memory we want. Actually, I'll go into the... That was too late. Sorry about the beep. So this is the BIOS settings. So the only way I know how to get in there is hold the escape key, and it warns you, so you can press F1. We are set to full power, of course. But we have 64 mega memory, by the way. It's down in the specs here now. So I'm going over the place now, because I've fought so much with this laptop so far. It has the potential to be so good, but it's not quite there. The ones that are interesting to us are these here. This is the Soundmaster and sound system setup. And we can see there, for example, the MPU 401. We have, Sound Blaster, IRQ, all that good stuff. In this case here, we can see we have Windows Sound System shares the settings for it. And that might be part of the problem. You cannot split the two apart. And that might be some of the issue with some of the software that is not finding it correctly. But we do have 220 set for the I.O. And we have the DMA set to 1. And the IRQ set to 7, as you can tell on the... I don't have a mouse now to point to it, but you see WSS and Soundmaster Pro and MPU 401 IRQ level is 7. WSS, Windows Sound System Play, DMA 0. There we go. Oh, man. That's a bummer. Yeah, his boot up script is fantastic. And I can't give enough props to that one. It's a great starting point, and I use it for almost all my builds for Windows 98 because it gives you all the memory handling you need. Turn it off. You mean rip the sound card out of the motherboard and put it back on? Or the hard drive. So there isn't much else to set here. So with your experience there with G-Funkster, does this look what you would expect? Because I have this set here in the BIOS settings, and I also have it set up in setup SA. And the init file should match all of these, which gives us what you'd expect. It works in most cases, but then in some cases, it just doesn't work. You mean set this one here? Oops. See, change values. So you can set it the same as play. I set it to 0, I think, to split it out to make sure that there was no conflict, is what I think I did. But you could set it to 1. Anyway, we're going to exit, and there we go. And we'll see, it should go back into that DOS mode there now. It's funny, the stream or VGA capture came up quicker than my CRT did here. So now we get this excellent boot menu here from Phil, which is, we're going to run it with all the stuff, and it gives us memory. It gives us an easy way to undo or take away certain things. So now it went into setup SA. I think I forgot to set it to /S. Yeah, printer ports, COM ports, all that's disabled. I tried to disable all of it to get rid of it. So, so we can see we have mouse supporter now. So we have 220, 7, 1. And I think G-Funkster, what it does, it reads the init file when you start it up here. And we have the base address for the Windows Sound system to 530. RQ is also 7. That is shared. You cannot... I don't think you can change that. Maybe you can. I guess it let me change it here now. Maybe this is what we needed, because now we have WSS on 5 and 0, and Soundmaster on 227 1. I swore that it was set to the same, but I also noticed in the BIOS settings there was a thing to say set it to the same. So maybe this is it. Maybe we'll solve it right here. But we have a lot of different... we have FM volume here we can turn up and down, and that's the kicker, right? We don't want it to be, stupendously super loud. So there we go. So now setup SA is initialized, and we should have sound. So we'll go to a game. We'll go to Doom. We'll do setup. Actually, let's go to Duke 3D, because Duke 3D is a test utility. So we'll do setup. And in this case here, actually was not able to get Duke 3D to run here, because it basically errored out saying RQ was used. So maybe this was the key here. We're going to use these settings. We have RQ7, we have DMA1, and we have port 220. So we're going to use that, 8 voices, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Playback failed, possibly due to invalid or conflicting RQ. So something here is colliding with it. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It shouldn't, right? So, and we can do the test music card, but It doesn't work because it's not pointing. Oh, interesting. FM volume has been set to 1. Huh. So right now it is using the general MIDI, but general MIDI goes to the MPU 4.1, which goes to nothing. So I don't think... Yeah. So it's going to a black hole right now because I can't redirect it to that. However, if I set it to Sound Blaster and go music, there's Duke. Always bet on Duke, right? It works fine. So the sound card initialized. However, the RQ issue is interesting. So that doesn't work because I can't... It won't initialize. You cannot get past that unless you disable sound. So something in RQ is broken. So if we're going to Doom, for example, we have a similar scenario where we can have... What's it using? Like bleeps and bloops now. Very loud bleeps and bloops. Because if we set the music to be Sound Blaster 220 and we run that, then Doom music works, but not Doom sound effects. It is nothing. I think that's handled much more easily in software now. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how it works today, looking on a modern machine, but it's, you know, resource handling is not really that of a problem anymore. Plus, it's not really interrupt queues in the same way, I assume, so like it was back then. They play nicer. But it's interesting with Setup SA, with the volume. What I am curious is... So yeah, you can't do anything there, but in Descent, I think all these things work. So I can't make heads or tails why it's doing this, or like why it's so weird. So if we change the digital sound card, we have 220, so we test 7. Identical settings, 227.1, it works fine. And there's DOS, there's the OPL music. However, we set the music general MIDI at 330, it doesn't work. So clearly the XG redirect is not initialized. And also there's some interrupt problem with the sound card inserting games. So it's just one of those, like, everything is supposedly working the way it's supposed to, but it's not. So that's why I spent hours trying to fix this as a troubleshooter with different drivers, different settings. And I think the key might be to run these DOS games in DOS, but two things, right? One thing is that we don't have sound card working correctly with the interrupts. And then second is that the XG redirect is not existing unless there's something to set up SA. And you're probably right, it's something like that. So, but then if we go to just Sound Blaster and then just run Descent, that just works just fine. Descent itself is fully playable in DOS and runs great. This is a Pentium 2 266. It was working, but I think we turned off music, right? We set it to like nothing because it was just exploding. Classic. And it works. And I mean, this is a fine way to play Descent, right? It runs smooth. Not saying I'm good at playing Descent. That's very loud. I say the sounds work. And it plays awesome. I mean, it's fast, it's still loud. Yeah, so I could switch it over to 5. I was on 5 originally, I switched to 7 because I saw some forum posts talking about how 7 is, like, more compatible with some games. It almost runs too fast here. So I can try 5. I tried using 5 all across the board, and I switched to 7 when I got desperate to make it work. So yeah, Descent works fine in this mode. I mean, this is the probably way that most of us play Descent. But I'm a little curious, if we go into, let's see, program... oops. CD program... CD Yamaha, yeah. Haha. Yamaha 1. And then we have, let's see, let's open edit it's a txt sa readme.txt. Let's see what it says in here. So S is optional. If the S option specifies setup S, it will make the settings for sound card IO port, RQ, DMA, and volume settings that were written into the OPL SA3 INI file. We'll display these settings on the screen and we'll exit. You can change it, but I don't test the Sound Blaster FM tone generator. Basically, yeah. Sound Blaster IQ and MP4 OQ are linked. About 3D control. The YMF 715 contains Yamaha proprietary Y-immersion wide stereo technology, which creates an emphasized sense of spatial spread when two speakers are used. Whoa. Let's see. So if Config Manager is installed in your PC, or if the PC's PNP BIOS supports a sound card, setup SA.exe will only read the settings assigned by CM and will not reset the sound card. Only volume can be changed. So it does default to 5, but we can see here. So maybe we should go with that. 5, 5. But I don't see anything about changing the... yeah, we can go with 5. So, so 5, 5, yeah, it's got it set now. However, because our settings in the BIOS are not set to 7, we probably remap that as well. But let's try CD Duke 3D setup. This is the one I've been fighting with the whole time, and if this doesn't work here, then sound effect card, Sound Blaster, change interrupt to 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to reboot, and we're going to go into the BIOS again, and we're going to set it to 5 in there as well to match the setup. Beep. So yeah, now it actually changed it to 5. So the question is if we should do here, if we disable this, we are letting the OS control this. So maybe we should not let... Okay, set up by OS. We're going to disable these. Sound is enabled. 5, 1. The... Okay, so now the DMA here, we want this on 0, and we want this as 1, right? Is that correct there? So we want 220, RQ is 5, DMA is 0 on the Windows sound system, and SoundMaster Pro is 1. So now we're basically letting the software handle it, which in theory should be set up SA, so maybe that's the kicker too. It's just, I feel like it's close enough that something is wrong here with the conflicto and everything. And that's the thing with the sound card, is that it's really cool and has a lot of features. By golly, though, it's not really like plug and play so far. Now, in Windows, it's fine. It's worked fine in Windows. There we go. SoundMaster Bass 225.1. Right? It says right there on the screen, the second line, and the Windows sound system is showing at 530, RQ5, and then 0. And then MPU is 330 on RQ5. So, that should be it. However, we can't redirect it to the XG from in here, unfortunately. So if we go to games now, we go to Duke 3D, we go to setup, and we go to sound setup, Sound Blaster, 225.1. Hang on. First try. Thank you for the guidance, G-Funkster. I think maybe we have found the secret combination that is needed. I have a feeling disabling also the BIOS handling it. Now we're letting the software handle it. So now, We don't have the SA redirect, but that's fine, because now, if we have better... There we go. Now we have full native regular DOS support, and that means Doom and all those should work as well with 5.1. So maybe that was the thing to do, was to separate the OS and everything. So say what you will about, you know, I love this OPR rendition of Duke and stuff. It's just so nostalgic to me, because what I grew up on was like a Aztec all-in-one card, right? And yeah, it all works. That's awesome. I love how it sounds, because yes, you can get better sounds, but it still sounds so nostalgic and awesome. I don't know, just a twang to it. And I seem to prefer that almost more than like awesome, like you know, sound canvas and everything, so. Damn, I look good. I am very pleased that I'm working, so thanks for all the emotional support in chat there. So let's try Doom now, because that's one that was giving me problems before too, as we saw. So now we set, let's got Sound Blaster, 220, 5, 1. Music is the Sound Blaster. It would be awesome if we can redirect this inside of here too, but now maybe the stuff will work in Windows. I don't know. Ian and Bruce, you just came here to see success. Launch Doom. So now, glorious Doom with sound effects, and it sounds good too. It's clean. It works. This increases the usability of this laptop a lot, so... Yeah, and it's weird, like, why did Toshiba do that? Like, why did they jam these, pretty awesome sound chips on here for something that probably, in most cases, would use some Crystal or ESS or whatever, right? Oh, you didn't find the BFG 9000 on the first level? Lame. Can't rocket jump in this one. Anyway, that's Doom. It works fine. That's awesome. Yes, the ESS are good too, but yeah, this is a real, in this case here, the sound on here is a real Yamaha OPL, I think it's an OPL 2. Soundmaster Pro 2 compatible. So then, yeah, that works now. The real question is if there's any way at all to redirect it to XG inside of DOS. But right now, having full DOS support is pretty awesome. Something I noticed was that Quake runs great as well with this setting. I did at least before, but Quake... I think I have another CD in there. That's... Yep. It's, this makes Quake a more jaunt... Alright, let's go hopping through the late 90s to Quake, alright. It is not the Quake music. I have the Motor Racer CD in here, which has Red Book audio on it. That's amazing. It fits though. It actually, the Motor Racer original soundtrack on here is actually really good. It's better than it should be. But it works great. Uh-oh. I think the beat's about to drop. It actually works. I don't care if I get a, you know, copyright mark on these, but it's perfectly fine. Turn down a little more. But in software, it works great. Oops, I was not on it. Yeah, it's Redbook audio, of course, so. Here. Let's see, what do we think we can do here? Let's try 640 software. What's the worst that could happen, right? Still playable. I mean, running Quake at any decent resolution higher than regular DOS in software is a tough order. Tall order. It still works, though. I still think with high resolution software, that looks great, so... Yeah, we're gonna exit out there. It's still been fantastic. So now, it would be awesome if that set up SA software. What? Is it? Did I drop? Oh. I don't think so. It's still running. I hope not. I didn't drop any extra frames, I think, but I didn't see any blips, but hopefully it's good road, so. Okay, now I'll say, I'm looking at the bar, green still, and I'm looking at my internet, and it looks fine still, I think. But again, playable. This is on a laptop, remember that. So the fact that you have all these, all this in there in one portable package is pretty cool. And the fact that the battery still works too is awesome. I mean, I'm very, very pleased that my coworker gave this machine to me. But the best part now here would be if we can get that external synth to work, which I don't know we're going to be able to get in DOS, because it is, with this settled now, thank you very much. It was a team effort. And thank you very much for all the tips there, G-Funkster. The XG support thing would help a lot, I think, to make this just elevate to the next level. However, I don't think there's any way to initialize or do anything with it from DOS, unfortunately. So we can look at the setup SA software again. However, let's see, one CD Yamaha. I've been in this folder a couple times. So yeah, the question is if there's one of these settings that would basically set up SA, because it just takes you in here. There's no configuration here except just the settings, right? So 5150 MPU IO is 330. What did you say about the FM having to be at 1 for it to work? Well, we would need something to redirect it to it, because by default, the 330 goes probably to the external interface. But I don't know... oh, Sound Blaster 1? Because that's just the regular Sound Blaster sound, right? We have the Windows mixer here. Other device. Yeah, you can't really configure the external one at all, so... Games, CD, Duke, 3D, setup. So we have sound. We can test it again. Now it failed. That works. We have Sound Blaster, 225, 1. Oh, it's only on boot up that it seemed to work, and then we messed with it now and broke it. Yeah. We do not want to change the settings. Let's see, CD program. Whoops. CD Yamaha. Yamaha. Set up SA. There were no switches on here, but yeah, 5151. I think that's what we had configured before. We'll set it back to 4, but I have a feeling that it only works on boot up. Like the software is probably either misconfigured or something compared to what we set it to. Maybe this is writing back to the BIOS settings. It's even weird it would do that. But if we go into OPL 3sa.ini. Do we see anything in here that looks interesting as far as like the synthesizer? So that's VS or WSS, Windows Sound Source, DMA Dual, Sound Blaster enabled on, I guess, 225.1, MPU 401 on. Maybe we set this to off. And that will point us to the external one. So I'm using an external keyboard. I'm actually cheating because this is using a USB keyboard because the splitter dongle I had for PS2 didn't work. So the laptop is sitting down here. I don't have the action cam here. Sorry, not today. It's sitting under my desk, the same way where I put the guest machines for streaming normally. So, but what if we turn this to off? I wonder. We have all the mixer settings. We do have the Y-immersion one. I don't know what Y mode is. That is one option to consider to set as well. We also have only FM, for example. There we go, configuration correct. So now the MPU 401 is there. I don't think that's it, but it's just like we have to just test it, I guess, so. I don't think the sound effects card still works. Yeah. General MIDI, 330, test. Nothing. I think it's still going to the MPU 401, so we don't want to save that. We'll tinker with this for a little bit more, then we're just going to go back to playing some games, because we do want to cover a couple other things, too, on this laptop. The sound, of course, is the big deal, because it has that original Yamaha sound card, so that's what makes it so appealing. CD Yamaha? CD Yamaha. Again. And edit, which one was any file? Edit OPL3sa.ini. MPU 401 is off, but it didn't seem to care. Detection mode auto power save, power down, okay. That didn't seem to make a lick of difference. Modem RQ, we did have, because we're looking for that flip switch that we saw on Windows that basically points to the setting. However, it might be, well, we could try Y mode 1. And we have only FM, we can set that too. We'll just do multiple ones now. Why not? Del FM, soft synth, I think that's probably the one, right? But I assume that means delete. Soft synth is what we need. We'll set that one too. What's the worst that could happen? Doesn't look like anything's different there. So I don't think there's a bad command or file name there. Oh, set up SA. There's no like switches or anything that comes up with it there, so unfortunately. AdLib.io 388. Game CD Duke 3D setup. I think this is still broken probably. Yep. Music probably works. That works. But if we set it to general MIDI. Yeah. The problem is that the driver has to engage it somehow, and I don't know that it's doing that, so no. We're going to reboot as well and see if it works off the bat with it, because it doesn't, it should be using, and it's possible also that the software, when we run it, messes with BIOS settings. We have to just go back and forth between the two and see what happens, so. Okay. That makes sense, because it's redirecting it right, so game CD Duke 3D setup. And if this doesn't work, we'll have to go back into DOS, into settings. Yeah. Nope. And we're going to reboot, and we're going to go back into the BIOS settings, and we're going to set it to be PNP OS, and then let the rest do it. And I'm wondering if us messing with it made it go into... No, setup iOS. 220.5.1. Control iOS. Interesting. Others, okay. Oh, there goes the internet again. Come on. You can do it. Standing by. Drop some frames here now. Come on. Come on, internet. It's back to green. See if it holds up. Oh, never mind, dropping again. Like an emotional ping roller coaster. Okay, it's fine for now. Yeah, I just see hopefully this is downgrading its signal, but yeah, I saw my bandwidth drop, and then my drop frames was increasing a lot there, but all right. So this is set the way it was before here. Interesting enough, the synthesizer IO address, but yeah, that probably makes sense. So we will leave it the way it is then. And we have everything else disabled. Yes. Okay. So it makes sense. It's a software redirect. So I could see that being the situation then. So the question is if we can figure out a way to make it not clip in those games, because the way it is right now is pretty limited because you can't really use it for a lot of the stuff because it's just so insanely loud and clipping. Unfortunately, whatever change we did now basically broke the whole thing anyway. So... Right? Yep. Broken again. See why this is like... It's so close to being cool, and it just does not want to work the way you want it to. So now something in the setup SA software then is not matching, and it makes no sense. So, MIDI program... Setup SA. Because this is what we have now. It's the same as the BIOS settings, which is 225.1, 530 on the WSS, 50. That's right. We did set this to a different one, didn't we? That's what we need to do. We need to have them separated. Gotta keep them separated, right? Well, now it goes to 7. Dang it. See the problem here? 5. So I think we went into the BIOS setting to make sure they were set to not be the same, right? Yep. So, all right, let's do that again. Make sure that's set. See, why I keep wanting to play like, oh wow, it's so close. So close. So close to being like awesome, and it just keeps giving me these random problems. Yeah, same as play here. So I could have sworn... I don't know that you can, because it's tied to the same one. See, it says like WSS, Soundmaster Pro, and MPU 401. So the RQ should be 5, right? That's when we determine it should be. I think that's the way we had it before. No, you can't disable it. I tried that too in the beginning, trying to like isolate it as I was troubleshooting it. But it really is tied together the way this chip is built, which, you know, fair, I guess. So, yeah, 5 seems to work best, and we'll see what it goes to here now. 5.1, right? That's what it's set to now. 220.5.1. Yep, doesn't work still. So we will go back in one of the settings I messed with, of course, in the NF file that must have broken it. So, game, or not game, CD program. We'll mess with this a little bit more, and then we'll go back into Windows and play a couple of games in there, because there's a couple of things I want to show there and discuss as well, because this laptop has a lot of little caveats around it, so... let's see. Let's edit opl3sa.ini. Let's see if I can remember all the changes I made now. So yeah, there's WSSRQ, should be 5. 5, MPU401's on. What else did I change here now? Set this as 0, Y mode. And there probably didn't help. Only FM was 0. Assuming then we cannot use the redirect at all here. We're going to save. And then we're going to reboot again and let it just initialize from scratch. Fortunately, this machine reboots pretty quickly, but for those that didn't see the video, I have a parallel to M-SATA adapter in there, and it's worked great. Now, I know those things are hit or miss because you're really at the mercy of whatever manufacturing, right? Not all of them can be the same. Even if you ordered the exact same listing, you might be getting from a different factory. So, so far so good. It's worked great, and it's by far my favorite method to use a hard drive in here because once you start using it now, it's been transparent in the sense that I haven't had any problems with it. It has been loading games just fine, whatever. So, good question. Good question. How would you? It depends on if you're 1,000 years in the future. The question is, what's the standard of fast computers in that time? So, yeah, that's the thing too. It is really quick. It's such a nice, like, good on almost every front laptop. And that's why the sound card is so frustrating, because it feels like it's so close to being, like, perfect. But it still just eludes me. Nope, still no sound. So now it's back to the way we had it before, yet it does not work. What's up with that? It's like basically all does work right now. 5150. I could have sworn earlier. So DMA we know is separated, but I could have sworn earlier we were able to set the RQ. Yeah, this is what we need. Like, how is this working here? I bet that's it, because they can initialize. Nope. Let's try and go into Doom sound setup, you're right. Soundmaster 220. 220. 5.1. Nope. Boy, just see... Something like this that should be so simple that worked, and now, like, no, it did not work. And that's why I think that it's been frustrating to work on this machine, because there's so many things here that should just kind of work, but are not. Like, yeah, now it's an invalid RQ again there. I can change it to 7, which we don't have set, of course. No difference. It's like it's colliding. Yep. Yamaha or program files. We'll try a couple of things more here, but then we'll move on to something else because yeah. It is now Sound Blaster 16 compatible. That's why. This is a Sound Blaster Pro compatible sound card. So 16 I don't think would even work, honestly. So that would be a problem. Or it might, but let's see what we have now. We have 7, 0, and this one back to here. Yeah, see, it ties it together. which is fine. 5.1. Oops, CD games. CD Doom. Yeah, it is, but it's just the chip that's on it is just not compatible. Nope. Set up. Yeah, we'll try a couple more things, then we'll just abandon this here, but... See, it was working great, and then we broke it. Messed with it too much. That is funny. But it's clearly not able to initialize now because there's a conflict somehow. But I don't know that we did anything else, so... Um, now it's initializing on 5.1. 5.1. That's it. Yeah, I could do that too. Just do an actual power off. But yeah, we won't mess with this too much longer because it's in DOS, so, you know. So bizarre. Like, the sound clearly works initializing on the same ports, but then just no. So yeah, what do you think there, Funkster? Are we back in a corner again where it wasn't working? I should have left it alone when it was working. I forget now exactly what we did in the last time there, because we basically just set it to use the PNP, or for the OS to handle it. At that point, setup SA should be the one that handles it, but clearly it is not, so same thing again. Basically, yeah. Maybe we'll do a clean reboot again and leave it where it is now. Because we have messed with it a lot, we're just going to let the settings kick in, set up SA start, and then will be a clean reboot, and we go into it, and we'll try it one more time, and if that doesn't work, we will move on back into Windows and mess with some, and play some games, because we've been doing a lot of our stuff, so. 5, and then 1. Soundmaster bass, RQ5, DMA 1. Sound effects card, Soundmaster 5.1. No dice. Music works fine. It's possible I mess with the ini file too much, right? But the ini file should just be... I don't think I changed anything else in there, so... the glory of a working DOS sound card only works so far. Well, that's the same settings I had before, though, so... There was one thing in here that I could have sworn no, it was MPU 401 that I changed. Well, they have the MPU RQ on 7. I wonder if I can do this to get that out of the way. Because they all use the same one. I think that's the problem. Is I could have sworn the last thing we did was to basically move the RQs to be different RQs, because these software games don't like when I don't think I changed anything else here. They don't seem to like when the RQ is on top of each other. So I could have sworn it worked when we set the RQ to be different between the two. But I don't know that I can I do this? It's all 5 still. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem to be reading any file. Because the same problem's happening in both Duke 3D and Doom, right? 5-1, I saw it pop up there, but yeah, still no dice. As bizarre. I guess I'm gonna have to rewatch the stream later. Yeah, you're right. And I bet in Descent it still works. Yep. Exactly the same as before. Yeah, Descent works zero problem at all. So we're back to where we were before. So I feel that it has to do with the... I could have sworn the last thing we did was basically separate the our cues there from the two, right? That was what's going on, I'm pretty sure. So I could have sworn this is what we did here. Because it basically freed up. CD game, CD Doom, Doom. Oh, I saw it go to RQ7 there in the setup. That's weird because I have not changed it, of course. I saved it last time as 5. Yep. Yeah, it's where it tries to go to share. Well, let's see. RQ7, I saw it pop up there. Not sure if you saw that in the window there, but it goes to RQ7. That's really weird. Because you shouldn't do that, right? I don't think Doom has a setup. Yeah, this is these. Yeah. Because it's weird, because I see it. Issue sound effects, Sound Blaster 220. I think that's why I sweated to 5. DMA1. That's what we did. Look now in the middle here. Now you see it really quick pop up. There, 7-1. Hit the setup. I'm not sure if it's not applying or if it's auto-detecting it somehow. So it shows 5 on both for your setup essay. You don't have it changed. You mean setup .piff? Yeah, I don't think that's a... Probably a compressed file, yeah. I don't think there's an any file, no. There's only that CFG file there. There's dm.cfg. Ooh, there you go. Beep, beep. That's the same as edit, so edit dm.cfg. Phone number. Yeah, server. So yeah, based on what Funks are saying there, we need to have them to be the same, 5 and 5, which is what I think... Because that's the thing, I can't remember. I could have sworn we changed it to 7 and then it started working, but clearly it doesn't matter because... let's see... That's the question. I don't know there's a set blaster in. It's a good point. There's none. That might be the issue because I think it's in DOS start. That might be a problem right there. I bet it's seeing that. Oh, I went to 7. Bless it. so edit DOS start dot bat 5. Then, all right, Pixel, for stopping by. So, yeah, see, it's set to 7 there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the software again and set it to 5 in both. Save that, and then we're going to go edit DOS start again. It's probably not calling that until I bet Doom is auto-detecting that setting. So we can either set everything to 7, but it clearly did not work on that, so... So yeah, we're going to go to 5 and 5. Where's my mouse at? Did I lose my mouse now? Did hard freeze? Oh, there it is. Huh. 5. That's weird. I wonder why I lost my mouse cursor here. Oh, because I disabled it because I'm stupid. There we go. That's right, I can do this. There we go. Now it's so CD Windows DOS start 5.1 5.5.5.5 all across the board. So now CD games, CD Doom, setup. Because I think the set blaster problem probably overwrites it, right? If Doom is looking for it. Is that going to be it? Oh, I saw it show up as 5. Unfortunately, sound is still not working, so... Again, this laptop is so close to, like, just kind of working, but then not, so... It's still set to 5. Yep, I see initial light in there and everything, so... yeah, I'm about done messing with the sound card here, because it was working, and then we broke it. Flew too close to the sun. Maybe we should just do a clean reboot now, because we have it set according to this here. It's set there. Blaster is set in the DOS start. So that should initialize now too. Well, however, the DOS start one is not kicking off, I think, based on what I'm seeing there. $225.1. We did reboot now in a clean reboot, so let's see what happens now. 225.1. It did detect it there. Nope. It's so close. I don't know what we did earlier to make it work. Duke 3D. We'll go in here and check it again. Yeah, invalid or conflicting RQ. So it's the same thing there. Something is conflicting, but it makes no sense because now we have it set to 5. I don't know. We can go into the BIOS settings and check one more time, but they should match. Let's check that. That they're set to 5, because it should match what the setup software is using. Yeah, exactly. It gets that far, but then it just kind of dies on itself. 5.1. I don't know. Let's see. We can set this the same as play. We don't want that. It is set to 5. 220. Don't know if this has an impact on anything. I don't think so. I can't even change the MPU one, so... Yeah, we can basically set up by OS. That goes into this mode, which is what worked. So here it has the Sound Blaster on channel 0, but we want that as 1. Because the RQ is what's conflicting. Yeah, because everything shares that RQ, so... I'm pretty sure this is exactly what we did. And then it goes into should initialize setup SA, start it up, and has the blaster variable set. Everything is clean the way you expect it to. And that's it. We can also try this in... yeah. Control is 370. You said 370H. Doom. Basically, boot it, don't touch it. Hang on. Ah, I'm on a rampage now. Anyway. So now, moral of the story is, do not flip and touch the config files now. So trying to retrace my steps now. I work in IT for a living, and now I'm trying to think, like, if I have to reproduce this now, my head's going to be spinning. But basically is to go in through the DOS setup. I think the missing key component there was that you need to have the blaster variable, the setup SA, and the BIOS lining up, right? And we're looking at RQ5 and DMA1 in general, and that seems to be the kicker. I think the last thing that really bit us there a lot was that the blaster variable is not defined. And yes, that is very true. We should do that too. But let's go into do quick. And then we can now evening banana. Then we need to get into there's Duke. We got Duke. All right, we're going to go back into Windows now. We're going to mess with Windows, and we'll see if we can do anything more with that synthesizer now that it's initialized the way we want it to. Otherwise, maybe with Windows handling it now, because we have to check the interrupt settings in Windows and make sure they're set the same way. Because now we have Sound Blaster 225.1 there, and that's what we want. We need to make sure that the resources are correctly configured in Windows. And in theory, we should have a pretty good spot. Now, that was working before, but I also think it might be using the Windows sound source too. So, yeah. Again, finicky. Really finicky, but powerful. Potentially. Windows sound still works, so that's good. See, I wanted to just show off the sound card a little bit, but now I spent like an hour and a half messing with it. But then again, I'm not gonna say I don't love it, so... yeah, we have all the extra ports disabled. And we have the OPL3 SAX sound system in here, 220. Yep, we want to change this to 5. I want it to be matching, basically. And I don't know, I think that's low and high DMA, right? So, but that's the primary one. We want it to be 5 as well to match up. We'll restart again to make sure we have a clean boot with 5. And then we'll try some of the same DOS games to see that they work. I don't know that the soft synthesizer redirect works anyway, because that one clearly has some issues in some games. And above all, the volume control, because that's a DOS-based software where you normally control the volume, and we can't do anything with it inside of Windows except like set it to nothing and like 1 volume up, which at that point started crunching, right? And I think that it's a lost opportunity because games like Duke 3D and Descent and those late DOS titles usually sound really good when you start involving some external MIDI. Sound still works in here, so that's good. All right, Bruce, thanks for stopping by. The baby stage still, so good luck with the baby. So now if we go to the volume settings, it's gonna crash. They're waiting for the CD. Taking a CD out just in case, but see, I think that something crashed here. Sound volume. The system is unstable now, it appears. There we go, came back now. Just can't open the sound mixer, which is a great great thing. It could be unrelated too. So card is initialized, so I guess we'll just go into and try. All right. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for all the help and comparison to a working laptop. Have a good one. We will go into Duke 3D and see if we can launch Duke 3D now, and it finds it. Soundmaster, yep. 5, 1. Sound still works. Standard Duke works. Let's change it to general MIDI. I think we had to like just not triggering. So we're gonna exit this, and I think we have to go in here and like can do this and then trick it back again. It's also possible the volume is too low, but I can't open the sound mixer because it crashes every time. Advanced properties. Nope, no, that's not working. So, but again, I can't change the volume because it won't let me open the sound mixer. It just crashes. Neat. Can you change this to sound canvas 330? No. That's a good sign. I don't know there's anything else in the sound settings here, but I have a feeling that's a problem since we just messed with it. So this laptop just does not want to play nice with this kind of stuff. Make sure there's no conflicts. And the problem is there's no sound mixer software. It's just the built-in one, right? So which was working earlier. Maybe we'll do this so it's set like that. We'll do a reboot here now too and see, because we had the DMA on the same one for both. It might be that it needs to mimic what we have in DOS, so. Yep, we'll do a restart. Although this is the first time now we're asking the operating system to handle this. Before we were doing it in the BIOS settings, where we basically did the PNP configuration in there. Now we're asking Windows to handle it. So that is a change. So, but the DOS support worked inside of Windows itself. But we might just leave behind the DOS audio and stuff like that and just play some regular standard games on this thing to show what it can do from a Windows 98 perspective too, because we have focused exclusively on the sound card so far. Which is fun to mess with, but sooner or later, you know. Yeah, I have a feeling it's not able to initialize the, well, it didn't crash that time. There it is. All right, so now it's back. Yay. Let's try Duke 3D again with the XG synthesizer. Yeah, I guess there was a conflict there going on. Choose music card. There it is. Very quiet, but... And music volume is max. And that is it. So, again, don't think it's going to run because it just doesn't initialize it. Like it finds it, it starts. Oh, playback failed, possibly due to invalid conflicting IRQ. So now it has a problem. Just can't win with this thing. One thing works and the other doesn't. So now it doesn't like that, even though we have it set to 5 here. Interrupt is 5. There's nothing conflicting. No devices are conflicting. That's the Windows sound source is a problem. We can just use automatic as well and see what happens. You mean to change it to 370H or to take it away from there? Because I don't think the 370 control port should matter for the IRQ settings, right? Well, broke now is the support inside of the DOS support inside of Windows, the integrated DOS support in Windows, not DOS native. Seems like we can have one or the other, or not both. So I'll try one more time here now. After this, we're going to leave the sound thing on the table and just play some actual games. Because the machine is actually capable of playing quite a few games quite well. Yeah, Windows clearly works fine. I don't know what to set it to now. I'm just letting it handle by itself and see what it does. 5, 0, 1. So change this to 0 and that to 1. Automatic settings. There you go, works. This is the ad-lib sound and not the... Alright. Very loud here, but probably not very loud in the... I'm just checking volume levels by shooting. There we go. But it runs a game like Duke very well. Oops. Remember, we have a... 2 megabyte video on board, so it actually is powerful and very good for DOS games too. And I think this is the... Oh, he spawned in there. Sneaky. Groovy. What a mess. Mighty Foot engaged. But now it's a great way to play Duke. I feel like I should not touch anything on this laptop now as far as sound goes. But yeah, that does work, of course, now. I'm pretty sure we left it at Sound Blaster. The XG synth, of course, does work inside of the configuration, but not... Yeah, it is set to General MIDI. Was that really running General MIDI? it's working now? Same. I guess it is running the XG now. Yeah, it totally is. Huh. Huh. Oh well. I guess that's good. I don't quite sure what, except setting the default configuration on there. So yeah, we were running the XG there. And compare it to the Sound Blaster. This is very quiet there again. Yeah, it totally is. Huh. I'll be darned. Now, we're not going to mess with the settings. What I'm curious to see is descent. I will be ready with the mute button here because I am really curious to see if the volume thing is fixed now. Sound Blaster 2. Change music card to general MIDI. 330. Which sounds great. I'm going to turn down a lot. Turn down here a lot. Can't touch this. Now wait for the full. It's working. It's working. This is the XG synthesizer running right now. My only theory is that whatever I did to change the configuration inside of Windows caused it to like loop back or double work or something. Right? Because that's why it was just like so loud or missing, and letting now Windows handle it automatically. Clearly there was a conflict somewhere in the settings there, but that's exactly what I was looking for. This is FM synthesis music. And it sounds awesome. That's great. That's awesome. But yeah, that's running a little fast, doesn't it? Absolutely, Doppler. I'm one of them. Because if you look at my setup here now, I'm sure many of us with the retro stuff, we have cables and stuff everywhere. And if you wire everything up and realize like, oh crud, you know, good speakers you just unplug and move them. But a lot of these computer speakers are, for some reason, you know, hardwired between the two for left and right. And if you have that like tied in, yeah, I do like having that option. I'm guilty of doing that, so. That works. It works. I can sing. No. But it's running quite fast, isn't it? Like that. I think we got to the point, and I may image this, yeah, because the cool thing with this, since it's a adapter, right? I can just literally just rip it out of the machine and image it that way. It's fast, but I think it runs a little too fast. I think it would benefit from running a little slower, but I don't know if there's any options. I think we have max detail on. Yeah. Sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, yes, it's not... Don't get me wrong, this is not like a full, like, you know, sound canvas or whatever. But we're talking about a laptop that was meant for work that has a synthesizer chip on there too. Yeah, and I think you can run in high detail, right? So I'm not sure if you can change that in here. The Descend 2 you certainly can, but I don't think you can change it here. Let's try Descend 2 now. There's a config here. Never mind. There might be in the setup utility for that too. Maybe there is. I can't remember. Nope, this is just sound card configuration. Sweet though. Now you have full working like that. Don't try to send 2 and then see if that also blows out the freaking speaker. Set up. Oh, that's right. I got the original CD in for this one, which I happen to have here. I do have the big box for this one, and I did not install a backup copy. Unfortunately, it has... It's really weird, because Descent 2 has a fantastic, like, MIDI soundtrack, but then it comes with Redbook audio, and I'm not a fan of Redbook audio on all of this one, so... If you have the option, you probably want to run that in along the baseboards if you can, but if you're going to go under existing carpet, I've never tried it anyway, but... That might be a little tricky. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, this game supports also, you know, VR head tracking, all that stuff. So let's change the sound. Change music card to General MIDI, 330. That's music card. There it is. Now let's see if it blows out the speaker. I am going to be ready with the volume here, just in case. But we will try it. I will allow it. We might have turned down the volume. There it is. Hang on. There it is. That sounds pretty cool, too. It's very metallic. But I like it, because it's built in. This is a self-contained laptop that has this, and it's really cool, and I think that it's just an unintended side effect of them selecting this Yamaha chip for this thing. I wonder what they were using it for otherwise, because it feels like this is a little overkill for this machine. That's rad. It is rad. It's extremely rad. It's the raddest. Yes, you can. You're right. We should increase that. Let's try that. Because I wasn't sure... Eating William D? Whoa, Bruce, take that off. Take that offline. I know, we're just... All we're doing is this here. This control thing here is not messing with it, but... We can also just, you know, we have the Y immersion set at a certain level. We can have reverb as well. Oh, but we're finding it broken now. And Polly's like, no, don't do it. Yeah, that totally changed the quality. Listen. Wow. That's a lot cleaner. Wow. That's cool. Well, William, for... It's certified fresh. Oh, it started... Whoa, okay, demo playback. That's loud. Let's see, audio volume. The volume is still a little... Prepare for descent. It's awesome. That's really cool. I may have to make a follow-up video just for the XG part on this one or something. Anyone interested in seeing that if I make a quick video or a short or something on that? Because it feels like I need to call attention to it. Of course, not touching it now that it's working, but the fact that it had it. And I wanted to cover it on the video, but and you saw it took me a long time now just messing with it. But I think it'd be worth like showing a difference on it and just the fact that it has it and something to look out for. That sounds cool. Yeah, why not? Yeah. And we can see playable, but how hard it is to drive. Yeah, it is. It certainly looks nicer, but it's certainly not faster. Yeah, the video card that's on here is a 2 megabyte video, right? And it's not going to be a fantastic one. So I think why not write Cirrus Logic? Yeah, it's a chips technology. I would clap to the beep. I don't think it's gonna come. Yeah, you can hide the HUD for sure. You can go into here. Laser. Yeah, I need to make a follow-up video on this one because it shows really the potential what this laptop truly can do now that it's configured. And I would have spent more time figuring that out, but I just didn't have time, so. Ooh, Doom. We tried Doom with this setting. Let's see what E1M1 sounds like here now. Because this really opens up this computer quite a bit. Let's see. Blur, not bad at all, because it's a active TFT screen, so it actually is not terrible at all. It's not fantastic, but let's see. I think I have the CD for Corridor 7. I don't think I ever tried it. Let's see. We need to go to setup for Doom here. So music card is going to be General MIDI 330. Run Doom. That's amazing. Yeah, that's true. I can't remember the level skip. That's one I've actually forgotten. This is built in. Awesome. Yeah, I don't think I have Ultimate on here. This is just a regular one, I think so. That's quality. Thanks for the tip there on the higher quality, because I didn't know what it was doing, but this sounds great. Wow. That's right. And it's IDFQA. Is it episode and then level, or is it just level? Yeah, it's true. That's very true, but yeah, I need to call attention to this here. But then, well, as far as your question for the sound, I think what we found, at least on this one, is that we had to basically make sure there's 3 things in place for DOS to work cleanly, at least. I know you said it was dropping it, but the BIOS setting had to be set. Then the SA software, setup SA, had to be set the same. And then the set blaster variables had to be set the same. Once those 3 were in place, then DOS sound seemed to be working. can't speak to for if it was going to drop it or not, but it was working at the time, so... this is... I want to check out Doom 2 now, too, because I play that a lot. Now, I messed with synthesizer stuff before like that, but the fact that it's completely built into this thing makes it just fantastic. Let's see, Doom 2. Music card, general MIDI, 330. Sound effects, sound master 220, 5.1. Save and run Doom. Now this laptop went from like, cool, to that's amazing. Have a slap bass. This is my first big box game that I ever got. I have right back here my Doom 2 copy. I got it for Christmas of '94. Sounds really good. Oh, yeah, they don't have... You can't mess with it. Just auto-detect it, right? Yeah, that might be a problem. I'm not sure there's a way to force a configuration on there or not, but... Huh. This elevates it a lot. So, that's the thing. The Yamaha sound chip and the XG and all those pieces and everything are cool, but I don't think that was the intended purpose of this. It wasn't like they sat down... and like, oh, we're gonna have awesome like MIDI music and stuff like that. I think that was as a side effect of having the where'd you go? I was gonna play Doom now, but we all had little tricks for getting around playing games and stuff. But that's kind of makes me want to get a Yamaha external synth there now. I know that, you know, you have great synth options with oh, there we go. Ow, 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 ow. Ah! Thought I could jump over them, but I forgot you can't have anything have above. Yeah, the cool thing is having all the different SG cards, or XG cards, right, that can handle all that, so... Hello? Yeah, I probably could run Final Fantasy VII in software mode, I guess. I know that's an excited... It's just been revoked. Oh, he's not doing so hot. I will take that. All better. Yeah, that's the thing too, and I think, yeah, all those. Oh, you didn't even bunk in and see you show up there, but yeah, the cards are really cool for being PCI sound cards and everything. I've become a big fan of them. I have another video. I have something planned with uses a Yamaha sound card as well. So yeah, I played it on a P2300, I think, like a desktop computer with the Voodoo 1, and that was awesome. Until you got to the vehicle sections where you're driving the motorcycle after escaping. That was like frame rate unlocked, and it ran super fast. Yeah, this sounds great. Satisfying shotgun to satisfying. Oh, hi. Blammo! Anyway, that's Doom 2. That's really, really cool that this works very well. I can't think of any other games I have installed right now that would be... I mean, I'm sure there's some here, but that would use the MIDI. Yeah, anyway. So that's a huge plus. That works great. So this laptop now, in theory, has full... yeah, it's Transfer Tycoon Deluxe. You're right. I do have that. I think I have the CD for it here. I have to pop that in. I don't think of a boot without the CD, so... But yes, that is also one that should work great. It feels like I do this every time I have a MIDI thing. Yeah, we definitely played Duke 3D here a little bit earlier, too. Hi, Jam. Welcome. You missed all the fun of getting the sound card working the way we wanted to, but we got there. Let's see, we need to probably go into the sound setup for this one. I think it's just the install. Configuration. There we go. So sound card, we're going to use Pro 225.1. Nope. And then for here, we're going to use General MIDI 330. There we go. Let's see, and then TLDX. The CD is in the drive. There you go, spinning up now. That sounds amazing. I mean, it's like CD quality. Unfortunately, I think the volume's a little low. I think there's a setting inside the game, maybe, but... Wow. Yeah, PCMCI is awesome. I only have network cards, which is plugged in right now. Network cards and modems are the only ones I have. Wow, yeah, that sounds amazing. I really wish I had figured this out before I did the video on this, but I may have to do a follow-up video and maybe just crank out a quick video around it to show the difference, because PCMCIA is really hard for me to say as a non-native speaker. It took me a while to get used to that, so... You never play a Transport Tycoon? Go fix that right now. There is a open source version called OpenTTD, and it is great. If you want to play it on a modern machine, you can now. Ultra wide, anything you want. But it is a huge time sink to manage a transport empire. It's great. I'm going to show you quick here. Random new. Yeah, and you basically are building a transport empire, and it's an incredibly addictive game. I realize that the screen is completely off here. 1 second. There we go. It's a little off still, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. You're basically building trains. That kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. That is a money maker right here. Sounds so good. So we're basically building a way for... See, we need oil tankers. Yep. There is a way to duplicate orders. I can't remember how to do it, but yep, this is basically Transport Tycoon, and it's Did I miss a road piece there? Yeah, I think I did. Alright, Bruce, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. It's getting pretty late, yeah, but I am just absolutely tickled that we were able to figure out all the crap around the sound card live here now, because, I mean, that just sounds phenomenal. So clean. And having that in a portable machine, too. I mean, there's no external devices plugged into this except just network card and stuff, so... yep, that's exactly what this is. This network card is a PCMCIA card that's a solid thing. You pop it and it hops right out. There's no dongle to it. Because everyone who's ever messed with them know that the dongles just basically disappear by themselves, so... Yeah, I mean, it's the same engine, the same developer. This is where it came from, right? Chris Sawyer, but this is the... Well, he wrote this engine for this game, and I played this so much. It is so addictive. Building a huge transport empire. It's one I keep coming back to. I used to have a game running, like, I would just, like, start it when I got home from school, and I let it run, let my transport empire build money, and then just outcompete my competitors. Yeah. So yeah, that runs great. But to DOS. Sure, we're definitely in DOS. Alright, we have tried that now. I think we said that we're going to try Striker. I keep saying Striker as good, but Striker support General MIDI, though, because that's the kicker. It has to support that. We can certainly check it out. I think I have it on here, right? Did we try it already? I don't think we did. I guess let's try Epic Pinball, but I don't think that uses MIDI at all. That's just, like, mod files, so... has to be a general MIDI supported game for it to be able to redirect to this soft synth, so... But we can try some regular games now, too, because we have messed a lot with these. And here's the thing that I wanted to... Major Striker, that's right, I forgot it was called that. There we go. Copy here. Yeah, I am planning a video on it, I swear. I am planning a video on it. And I'm going to go through, like, kind of how I set up my network and how to do it and why it's so useful. Because in this case here, I've just slowly but surely built up stuff on the NAS with drivers, games, updates. And if I have, for example, then I know I need the drivers for everything to do with the satellite, and I have them here on this one. So I don't have to go find them again, right? So it saves a lot of time. I think was this one we could configure sound... I think it goes directly to Sound Blaster mode. I don't think you can configure it, right? So that's the problem. It's good music, but... Game options. Sound select. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good, but it uses the ad-lib, so... Which still sounds good. It's a heck of a sound card for being on a laptop. Yeah, exactly. That is a good thing to use as an XP machine or whatever. What I use basically is a SMB1 Buffalo network station, right? But you could do that through what you're doing there, right? As long as you have SMB1 of some variety accessible, and I have it segmented. But yeah, I would like to make a full video on it with some explanation of what I use it for, so... Yes. While that sounds really good, I appreciate the suggestion there. It has to be MIDI, right? And the problem on Monkey Island is I don't think it's going to run very well under Windows. That would be the major problem with that one. But we can play some other games that I had installed. The one thing I wanted to mention that I felt like a little bit of a fraud here now, because when I did, Yeah, Return to Try It would sound really good. I'll show you what I did here, and one thing. So if we go to games and we go to Half-Life, what I did in the... when I did the video on this, right, I said that this actually supported Direct 3D. And while it sort of does, it's not... I can show you it's enabled here. I think I have it on Direct 3D mode now. So it is on Direct 3D. Although I've messed with the settings so much, maybe it doesn't work now. We'll see. It might not work now because I messed with it so much. It initializes. I've changed the driver with the video card so much. I don't know if it's gonna. It is a chips technology. I think chips and tech or something. 2 megabyte integrated card. So yeah, not good by a long shot. It's not meant for this kind of purpose at all. But it runs 3D acceleration, sort of, and I thought that meant that the game was 3D direct, or the drivers were direct 3D compatible. Yes, you're seeing it in a square in the side, and that's exactly how I see it too. I think the scaling in Windows doesn't work very well. And it runs, right? So I thought, like, well, it's direct 3D, it's just horrible, right? And actually the instruction thing, or the leaflet that it came with, showed that Direct 3D is supported on acceleration, so like, well, it's just crappy 3D accelerated decelerator, right? However, I'll show, so that's like virtually unplayable, right? So let's not mess with Direct 3D in here. When you go into and run, let's see, it's under program files, let's see, if we go into DirectX, I'll show what I mean, because we're on the setup, dxdiag. Let's see what I mean in the sense that it is not Direct 3D accelerated. It's basically doing through software. And it tests it, and it uses software rendering. It's brute forcing Direct 3D, I think. So while it is compatible, it's not detected as an accelerator. So most games will not allow you to use Direct 3D. Because my thought was then like, okay, well, Half-Life runs horrible, right? You know, then I could basically say, why don't I, you know, find an older Direct 3D game like Motor Racer or Motocross, sorry, not Motocross, but Monster Truck Madness, which has Direct 3D support and pod, and it doesn't really work. So I think it's just, they basically put it on as a marketing slogan that it has Direct 3D support when technically it doesn't. Direct Draw is there for sure, but there's just no Direct 3D driver here. I think it's basically software wrapping it more or less. So what was that Doppler? So 320 by 240, because in Half-Life I can only set it to 640 by 480. I can't even set it lower. And as we'll see, if I run a different game, let's see. We'll do Motor Racer because that is a game that's appropriate for this. So while I wasn't technically incorrect that it has Direct 3D, I was sort of not right either. So it's not accelerated. I think it's just basically through software. So while I can support some of the Direct 3D instruction set, DirectX reported as not being a Direct 3D accelerator. So that means that games don't want to use it. Most games I've found so far. Never mind. I guess now that's failing too. Neat. It very well might, yeah. But that was running just fine. Boom. Do I have to reinstall DirectX? Because Direct Draw was working fine. I'm going to have to reinstall the game. Whoa. Is this all working? But I do think I did rip out DirectX after with this game, so I may have to reinstall, but I can try a different one too. Fast. Point being is the DirectX is now reporting as a Direct 3D device. So while Half-Life works, I'm assuming it's through some voodoo magic there. Not voodoo. Yes, exactly. Those kind of games I think are great. And I think that's kind of what I messed with when I was messing with this computer, I think it works great for that sort of thing. That's very loud. Good lord, sorry. Where's my mouse? Goodness. Anyone still asleep?
I'm Army Armstrong.
If you go in here and select this, it basically warns that no, you cannot. It's not detected. So while it would be awesome to do that, it won't let you. It's not, the driver says it's not compatible with Direct3D, so that kind of stops everything there, right there. That's very loud. Because this is a game that supports Direct3D. But it doesn't work. So, another one that supports Direct3D is actually Pod, which, again, I don't think it actually works. I think I installed Pod. Let's see. Too many windows open now. Pod Gold. Yeah, Windows Pod Direct3D will launch. I found no 3D accelerated hardware. You should better use the software, but yes. Or tell me the odds, I still do it. Great. I don't care about the video. Yeah, so I think that's what's happening. It does, work. Unfortunately, it's super slow, and you can't... For some reason here, I can change the settings here. I guess I can't. Like, I can do this, but I can't save it. There's no save button. It's off screen somehow. So if I go to previous menu, it just goes back to the previous settings. So while you can race this with Direct3D, it just runs not great. So it's just not finding, it's not a real accelerated one. Look at this. It's like, you want frames? Because we have frames. Barely. Versus in software mode, this actually runs decently. But here, it's literally unplayable. So yeah, while it supports Direct3D in that sense, it is a misnomer from them to say that. Because it is completely software accelerated, right? It is not actually... Go back in the same race here now with similar settings. In software mode, this is what you would play on a P1, right? MMX. I think I had the wrong buttons. I don't know what CD... I was playing the CD audio. Which one did I put in? Monster Truck Madness. Which just runs more than respectable, so... Very chipper rock music for the, yeah. So, yeah. That's why I said Direct3D, while functional, is, like you're mentioning, it's just not... It's not the real thing, so... So that's what that is. So maybe we can actually play some actual regular games now that we got that out of the way. So while it does support Direct3D, sort of, it doesn't actually support Direct3D. So take that for what you will. I got blinded by the documentation showing Direct3D support, and then when I tested it and it ran, I'm like, well, it has Direct3D, it's just terrible. And I tried other games, it just would not boot at all. So maybe we just play a little Monster Truck Madness to his warning about color, whatever. Never tell me the odds. It's extremely 90s, of course. And this is one I just picked out the big box for the other day, so... Get the control you need with the Sidewinder 3D Pro joystick. It is listed under the, in the documentation, it says under 3D acceleration, it says Direct3D, so... I think that, the only way I would read that, and I think most people read it, is that it has acceleration, real acceleration, not just, yeah. Ah, yes, the 90s. Well, knock on wood, the stream has held up pretty well. The service status now on my ISP does say that it is everything's good right now. So I guess we pulled through in the end, and the laptop came out better than ever. See what it says. Yep, your network looks good. Stream is holding fine, so. Race. That not even full screen.
Get ready. Go.
That's a little loud, though. Doing great here. Watch out for the camper. Ah. I thought I put the... Did I not put the... Yeah, that is motor racer music. That's right, it works here too. Yeah, clearly does not like this video mode that we're in now. I would like to play Motor Racer. It's kind of a bummer it doesn't work. Maybe we'll reinstall it, because I do like Motor Racer a lot. I don't know what the button is to get back to the... What's the return? Yeehaw! Why? Yeehaw! Goodyear blimp. The dedic... I have, so how'd I get back to the road? Oh, he drowned. Is there a... Auto stage S? Yeehaw. Yeah, I don't think... I mean, it's not, you know... not really usable, right? So... let's try a different one. And we're running at some pretty high settings here now, and I think this laptop... There we go. Maybe better with full screen mode. There we go. Yeah, the music works. It's so, like, delicious, like, 90s rock punk stuff that it just works on almost everything here. Oh. I am great at this. Space was reset, and also the horn. Yeehaw! And this runs respectable, I think. Although the screen is... Dang it. I'll be right. There we go. Yeah, I do like mixing mixing sound from different games like that. It's pretty fun when they use Redbook audio. And I'll come over with your technical details, Revenant. America, we decide where this guy goes. Yeehaw! It was like, the video card is not... Like, if it had some sort of acceleration, that would be amazing, but clearly, that is not the actual case. I actually found the design documents, some of the stuff from Chips and Technologies, that they put in for, like, you know, where you could buy, as a manufacturer, you could buy the chips for making OEM stuff. And I looked through there too, but I didn't see anything about acceleration at all, so... Oh. I am driving here. Yeehaw! Pretty rudimentary early entries from these games from Microsoft for a lot of these, like the Motocross Madness, the Monster Truck Madness, and Midtown Madness, and all those are good first outings, but, you know, they're a little rough around the edges, but... We'll probably beat this one here. A little bit, yeah. There's something deliciously retro with these chunky pixels from this era. But it's a little funny that we're on second lap still. These are long laps. Yeah, Monster Truck Racing isn't fun as you're driving on asphalt like that, huh? Well-timed yeehaw should give extra points. Ah ha ha. That would have been a nice tie-in, wouldn't it? Little slide there. Pick out the tail. There we go. Yeah, modern driving simulators got nothing on this thing. No. I wonder, like, it's like, in cockpit view would be hard to... I mean, yeah, play anything driving Monster Truck when you're flying around. I can only imagine driving one in real life. Like, you just, like, have no idea where wheels are or anything. The way those jump. But clearly they do it just fine, so... I don't think this is a comparable experience, probably. Okay, can we turn off the audio from the... No. Don't read and drive, folks. Looking for copyright on this thing. $96 is the copyright on anyway. Eating Solar, welcome. Yeah, that's the thing why I installed it, because yeah, it's one of the very first Direct 3D supported games, I think. Well, I figured it would be a good one to have on hand then, but no, it did not work, so... Sadly. Listen to this track here now on Moto Racer CD. I would turn off the music there, but I can't, because I'm in the middle of driving a very large vehicle. Those years. Yeah, I mean, this was Microsoft first, like, real adding. I think it was in-house developed too, right? Or I don't think it was another studio. It was literally Microsoft in-house. Or it does says TRI. Yeah, to play this, you need a Windows 95 multimedia PC with a Pentium processor, 8 megabytes of RAM memory, and 100 meg install size for the full one. Double speed or faster CD-ROM drive, Super VGA. I mean, in theory, right, Doppler, you could, but it's just a matter of who would develop it. But that would be pretty sweet, because this piece, it's a PCI bus, right? That's what it goes. So I would think in theory, absolutely, but you would have to cram it in there or do an FPGA or something. But that would be a hell of a project to boost performance on old school gaming laptops. It doesn't have to be advanced. I bet you could do that with freaking Pi or something, right? Or emulate it. Terminal reality. Okay, it does says TRI on it. TRI. It's funny that the game also I have is a big sticker on the front, which I think means this was an employee sale. Personal use program, not for resale. Distributed by SoftBank Services. Report violations to 1-800-RU-LEGIT. There were several games at that store we went to over the weekend that had employee-signed stickers with employee IDs on them from Microsoft, so I'm assuming a batch came from them somewhere. Yep. Yeah. The winner is you. Ooh, look at that resolution. Oh, no, it's gone. All right. Ah, yes. Look at that bitmap, or the dithered video there. Sweet. That was Bounce Truck Madness there. So, anyway, let's see. Yeah, I don't think we can run Motor Racer, which is kind of a bummer. I kind of wanted to play that. It does not work. No direct draw structure encountered. So we may just have to reinstall it. We'll try real quick and see how long that would take. Proceed. Boom. Reinstall. There we go. I believe 7 on this one. I mentioned earlier, but I basically started with 9, which I thought was giving me problems. So I changed it to... I used a uninstaller, which I think ripped out a few more things that I intended, as it's expected. And then, let's see, custom tracks. There we go. Installing that. And after doing that, I installed 6. And then ended up with 7. And I figured that was a good DirectX for this era. Because when we're like 96, 97, 98 kind of, right? And my goodness, you look back at that era, like games from 95 to 2000, the amount of like trend-setting games that came out, the amount of cool games that came out, what a decade. And even just that end part of that decade, there were so many things coming out, especially in the PC space with all the accelerators and games. It's just got so good so fast. There's just so many experiences to have. And it's definitely one of my favorite time periods in general, looking back at retro gaming, is that mid to late 90s, right? I think a lot of us probably are fond of that time period. I'm a, older millennial, right? So that's when I was in full coming of age too, but voodoo cards, and faster processor. Every freaking month there was something newer. There were so many, like, how much did the performance, like, increase? Because, like, in the 94, we're still in the 486 era. And yeah, maybe touching Pentium, or we're in Pentium era. But then by like 2000, we're coming up on beyond like Pentium 3. And it's just like the amount of performance in just those few years is insane. Which is why it was both frustrating and exciting to be part of it, because things got obsolete so rapidly. I don't know why it was such a race there. And I remember everyone proudly proclaiming when it hit 1 gigahertz. I think AMD was first, right? And also, that was a big deal. But it went from, 100-ish or less megahertz machines to over a gig in like 5 or 6 years. That's crazy. I don't think you get that performance leap anymore, at least on the CPU front, so. Yeah. And that's the thing too, and I think a lot of us are fascinated too by the other competitors and everything too, which of course none really took off the way Glide did. Or 3D Effects did, of course. Let's see if it's going to play nice. No, I don't want to install DirectX 5. I already have it. Can you let me play it now? Oh, just go to Start menu. Thanks. Motor Racer. Nope. Yep, I think it's something bork with the DirectX, so oh well. What we can do, I'm going to take that CD out now, because I'm going to get tired of listening to that soundtrack. It's getting a little bit of a overstated welcome. So what we should do now, of course, is play like the game that's best ever on a PC. I don't think it's going to work with the external MIDI, but see, I think we can use external. Yeah, create a Soundmaster Pro. Any3 voice. Instead of external. General MIDI. Yes. Fantastic. We're going to play Mega Man X on PC. And it is a, yes, correct, weird one. However, with our awesome external MIDI, let's see what it sounds like. Where'd actually my mouse go? There it is. This is not a good way to experience Mega Man X by a long shot. So this is actually my wife's original disc. If she's watching, hello. But I don't know that she has the box here, but it might have come with something else. But this is her original one, and this is how she played Mega Man X first. Then realizing the Super Nintendo port, or the version, of course, is far superior. Whoa, that's... hello! Sounds better. It runs way too fast, though. I was going to change the, let's see, shot. Oof. There we go. Oh, oof. Whew. I mean, it sounds... Problem is that the, the way I have it configured now is not very good. I mean, it sounds better than the built-in one, for sure. I think that's because I set it the slowest. Because it was running way too fast, so I can probably fix that. But I don't know that I can exit the stage now, so we can do this. And exit out of it. Oops. It's weird, too. It has a weird, like, scale to it, too. But if we change it to the built-in sound, it is just horrible. When you use ad-lib, it just becomes, like, silly. So let's do that instead. Don't not sound much 16. See, we want Soundmaster Pro 100% compatible. There we go. And MIDI should be... There we go. Now, that's the thing too. I don't know quite, but now it sounds just terrible. Even terribler. Yeah. Let's see, let's do... Oh, yeah. This is so bad. The music, which is like a key part of the Mega Man experience. It sounded alright with the general MIDI at least. The Yamaha doing the work there, but it feels like it's really clipping too. Yeah, not doing so great there on the. I'm not sure if I can survive that long. It's a little challenge the way I have it set up right now, but I'm curious as well. The soundtrack for Mega Man X is just phenomenal. Not like this, though. Not like this. And it is a way to play a game for sure. But I wouldn't, yeah, play the SNES version, kids. Like missing notes and it's probably on a list of ports that shouldn't exist, but it's oddly compelling, I guess. It's just so. I am the king of the cars. It loops too, it's very short music. Yeah, it feels like the audio is really clipping. Come on, come down, Storm Eagle, or where are you? There he is. Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh no! I really tried to beat this guy when I was a kid, but you obviously cannot. Playing a little Casio keyboard. It wouldn't be so bad if the audio quality on the Sound Blaster part was so crunchy. Like, really bad sample quality. The question is if you can change all the MIDI output in Windows itself to use the synth. Ugh. Alright, you want a Storm Eagle? A Storm Eagle. This, to be fair, this... I was gonna say, this track sounds good no matter what, but I am incorrect. Wow. Wow. That's terrific. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm a little curious if there's a way to, Oh, hanging note bug. We're gonna play something. There we go, it's gone now. I wonder if there's a way to decide. I think there is, right? If we're going to advanced settings in here, I think we can decide which one is the MIDI output. So if we go into control panel, go into multimedia, and then MIDI, we have the FM MIDI out. We can do the MPU MIDI out, which should in theory pick the default one to go out. that way. So now, if we play a MIDI track, it sounds like nothing because it's going to the MPU out. Go back to multimedia, and then we select... Yeah, that's the normal one. Yeah, the normal media player doesn't work because of the DirectX stuff I messed with earlier, but... Yeah, there it is. Cool. So then you can just use it in Windows like this. Yeah, it's... It doesn't really apply, you can see. I'm just playing with it there, but... So I think, if I remember right, I think that the... Yeah, these are XMI files. I wonder if... Yeah, I can't play it. I bet there's a plugin to play these. These are the, this might be the music. Never mind. I bet they're just, like, encoded here somewhere. Let's hoping there's a MIDI file sitting somewhere. Maybe not. Let's see. I don't think so. They must be compressed in a... Guess they were smarter than that. They didn't just put MIDI files straight up. I bet those would sound pretty good. Let's go to media. So we go to Passport, which goes to Classic. Fortunately, it's just really quiet. So now we're just using that, but if we can go into Control Panel and just change the output. Oh. Yeah. So this is basically the default Soundmaster MIDI, or the Windows MIDI one. But then we switch it to here, which uses the... Which defaults the volume to nothing. Which the volume... This is where the problem is. I think the volume is just weird. That sounds good. Christian? Yeah, but now we're using the Yamaha XG. Let's see what it's set at here. I don't think that made a difference, right? No. It seems to only be the software WT. We can also go in and just mess with reverb and... Oh, yeah. Let's increase our Y immersion factor to max. Pretty impressive for being an integrated sound card, I would say. Oh yeah, drop the bass. I'm having too much fun. It does add a lot of depth to the, to it. Wow. And a reverb makes a big difference with songs like this. I don't know that I have any. I wonder if I have any MIDI files on here. I don't think so. Yeah, it's mod tracker songs. it sounds quite good. It goes back to low volume all the time. Yeah, I mean, I'm just very tickled that we have the full functionality on the sound card. So what else did I put on here now? We're enjoying this. Because I install a whole bunch of different games. Now, games that are really good for this one would be your Civilization and you know, things like that. And also that works on here. And games like that are strategy games, a little slower, like we mentioned earlier. We have Need for Speed as well. Even racing games tonight. Did test Forsaken as well, which I thought would have 3D support, but again, we're dealing with the thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, sure, it would do general MIDI. Great. Oh, you dropped the MIDI in there? Just copying it. There it is, music. Right. It just sounds. I'm becoming a big fan of the Yamaha sound cards. They just sound really nice and clean and good. I know Yamaha, of course, being very into synthesizers in general, so they have a lot of experience. LZ4 compression. I'm not sure I mess with that. Realized it was probably a little loud there, but it makes a big difference to have some of the reverb on and the wide immersion, honestly. Oh goodness. We used to have a lot of that kind of stuff, and I think we got rid of a lot of the MIDI files. So we used to have a MIDI file collection. Yeah, I remember. Didn't LGR play this one as well when he covered the Yamaha external MIDI? Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I need to make a follow-up video on this for sure to show just like, especially messing with a laptop for gaming from this era, having this option here directly is phenomenal. And I would just be messing with games that are using MIDI, I guess, so. Because I did, like, you know, other games on here that work really well, again, are, you know, your 2D games, like we talked about Dune 2 we did earlier, Doom, Duke 3D. But then games that I played a lot were just like strategy games, like Ascendancy. You know, Civ 2 is on here as well, but I think that doesn't use MIDI. This is just integrated zone. That I believe. He is really into that stuff, so... let's see what else happened to have on here. If anything else at the MIDI, because I have a lot of games I didn't do the MIDI focus when I was installing these because, well, I wasn't having good luck with it, so. Because I did your Doom and that kind of stuff. Descent, of course, sounds great, but Duke 3D, Dune 1. It's got a really good MIDI soundtrack, doesn't it? Start copying it. Sounds great. You get that, yes. I want to open that one. We do have the entirety of Exodus on here too, so... Heart of China, I think, is a good one that has good sound as well. Yeah, I keep mentioning it, but I'm gonna make a full video on how to do that. You can do, you know, the options that I have done with using an old NAS. You can also use it through software anymore with the RetroNAS software suite that runs on Linux. Runs on almost anything, so that is a nice option as well. And I'm hoping to do a full video on it at some point. At some point. I don't think Mark Allen is going to work very well from in here. It's funny you get to that kind of thing where, you know, you're in the deep time now when you have CD support on a lot of games where they use Redbook audio, which is, you know, it's fine, but you lost a little bit of it too, not having having that. So having the MIDI stuff, as it were. Because I don't think it only supports MT32. I don't think it supports general MIDI. That's the kicker with that. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Okay, we have the Star Wars stuff, but we're already messing with the... we'll get an immediate strike on... We have terminal velocity. That is... I believe supports the full... Need this one, TV. Yeah, send it to 2000. I have to get the CD for it here. Realizing we're kind of running low on time here, but let's see if we can run. Let's see. There's a setup here for. There we go. Sound setup. No, I don't. Let's see. Sound Blaster Pro. 220 is fine. 5.1. Yeah, I heard it. But I want to do general MIDI. Do we have general MIDI support on this one? It is not. Oh. Yeah, I have the collector's edition with the silver box if I'm going to get the actual thing for it, but although it sounded good there, oh, we may just have to get into, oh, okay, do I have to test it? Yeah, there's no general MIDI here, which is a bummer. I was hoping to use that, but it's fun too, because, I mean, here you have full, you know, support for this kind of stuff on a laptop that was clearly not designed as like a music production thing or anything, right? So, but 3D Realms, of course. Yeah, never mind. I guess it's failing. Trying to find the CD. Yeah, this is great music, though. It does get old after a while, but... Go higher. Yeah. It was at 22. I went back to 11. Because I'm starting the music over. Image quality Pentium, max power. No, it's a Sound Blaster. It might be mod. Maybe it is mod music, because it sounds the same on everything, I think. A great game, yes. Exploding trees. Whoops. Set thrusters to ramming speed. This actually has S3 accelerated versions. I think we played that. Woo! Yeah, that's one of the ones that are probably the best showcase of that one in particular. Sure, I'll send you a Coke bottle in the mail, and let me know when you open it. I played a demo of this to death. This thing over and over. Woo! It was early cool, like 3D, right? The song is just so good. Like, hey honey, there's a box out there for you, and it's kind of shaking and hissing. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's Coca-Cola. What? Boom. What is it in Simpsons, I think, right? They're trying to play a practical joke on Chief Wiggum. Or no, on Bart trying to play a practical joke on Homer. So he takes his beer to the paint mixer at the paint store and puts it in the shaker and just shakes it for like hours. And he puts it in the fridge and it's just kind of sitting there hopping. And he opens it and he's like, April Fool! And there's just an explosion of beer. And that's when Chief Wiggum comes running. He's like, oh my god. I'm proceeding on foot. Bring pretzels. Let's see. So Dune. Is there a setup for Dune? There's an install. Can we set general MIDI? Change hardware configuration. There we go. No, it is not correct. Sound Blaster. No, we need... it's only Roland. Oh, well. Because it's going to look for that specifically, I think. Pretty sure it will. I can try it, but... I don't think it's... When you're doing a MT32, it's going to basically ask it to be... Whoa, that's trippy. Oh, it's cryo. Nice. I should try the other one, because, yeah, Fury 3 is one, right? I used it the same engine. Basically the same game, more or less, right? Yeah, I don't think it's going to initialize the MT32, because it's expecting a specific... Yeah. Oh, well. That's a bummer, but I think if we go back then to... Again, remember, we're running on a friggin' laptop, right? So, easy to forget that when we're doing this. Let's see. No, it is not. We're going to change that to Sound Blaster. Yes. No. Press P to change the port number and I to change... Goodness. What a intuitive way to do that. Dune. See if it runs now. Maybe. Cryo games are always a little weird, but Dune is actually quite something. It's one you can get really stuck into mixture between adventure game and strategy game, and yeah, it's a great one. But I don't think the sound is working. I hear nothing. Yeah. Well, that's a nice one. I'll try it one more time. So I would think that should work. Just not detecting the... We can do the auto detect and see what it finds. Oh, hard freeze. Hard froze. Flew too close to the sun. Hopefully all the configuration's saved now, but... Yeah, the machine actually hard froze. So something there kicked in, but I mean, any installer is going to try and auto-configure stuff and do who knows what, and that's always the tricky part with that and the risky part with that. So, not realizing it's almost midnight here. That probably is a bummer to end on that, but I think it may be one that's a good one to stop on too. It's an awesome laptop, and I can do this quick here since it's already dead here now. I'm gonna hard turn it off. There we go. You can actually excavate it. Yeah, there we go. So here's the laptop we've been playing on all night, right? So it has the little dongle here for the memory and everything, but it does run on battery just fine. The screen is definitely not bad at all. So this is a TFT screen and not a DSTN, and it's a really cool laptop, especially with the sound. I'm really curious to see how that how that MIDI stuff sounds on these really bad tiny speakers, but it's a heck of a machine for everything it does so well. It's definitely hot because it's been running hot all night here now. But yeah, it's a fun machine. I'll do another follow-up on it with the MIDI sound then, because that's definitely something that's really cool. There we go. Oh yeah. But no, it's a really sweet machine. And interesting enough, if we go into the battery, believe it or not, the battery estimate is like 2 hours. I don't know if that's actually, you know, we would believe that, but hey, it still runs. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out, everyone. I think we got a lot done with this one. The fact that the machine was got the sound working finally took a little while, but I'm glad we worked through it. So I'm also glad my internet held up generally well. So anyway, I appreciate everyone watching, and have a good night and a good weekend, good Easter weekend if you celebrate that stuff. And then I will hopefully see everyone next week. We'll do another random stream. So, all right, have a good one. Thanks everyone, and see you next week. Good night.